Hello everyone, I'm Marieanne, the Artsie Crafter. Welcome to my channel. This is my second attempt to do this video. The first one I was showing you how to sew in the signature, but in my enthusiasm I forgot to actually include the cover. So yes, I had to unsew it and start all over again. So consequently I've got holes already done in the signature, but I haven't in the cover, so that's okay. So if you saw the video yesterday, now I've covered it all up. We started making this cover, so this is part 2 in how to make a grungy junk journal. And yesterday we cut out the cover and we lined the inside, and then wrapped it around the outside, which is a little bit different. Usually you wrap it around the outside and fold it over to the inside, but I'm doing this a little bit differently because I wanted to have a hidden signature, hidden spine binding on here. And so this is the fabric for the outside cover, so this will go on after I sew the signature in like that. And I'm going to have a frayed edge, but to make sure the frayed edge doesn't fray too far in, I've gone ahead and sewn an inner border there, so that's as far as hopefully the frame will go. And that's a 1/4 inch I've added to the outside measurement. This journal the journal cover is 6 1/4 inches wide, and I did have the measurement in metric. 6 1/4 inches wide, which is around 16 centimeters, and it's 8 1/4 inches high, which is about 20.5 centimeters high. No, 21, sorry, that's right. Yeah, I don't know why I said 21 centimeters high. So when this goes on, this inner edge will be the same size as the cover, and then you've got 1/4 inch that will fray, if you understand all that. So I'm just going to put that aside for now, and I've already got cotton threaded. Once again, I'm using this crochet cotton. It's a thick crochet cotton. It says number 5 on the label, but I don't know much about thicknesses of crochet cotton. It's been years since I crocheted, and I usually only pick wool to crochet with, not particularly the crochet cotton. So the next thing we have to do is to punch holes into the spine, and I've got my trusty awl. So I don't know where I got this from, but I think it was in my husband's toolkit, and I absconded it from there. So he doesn't mind sharing some of the time. So anyway, he doesn't ever use this, so it's mine to use. So now I'm going to punch the holes in, and as you can see, I already put the holes in here. So it's going to be a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I've done it in the center, and I've done a hole 1 inch in from the both ends, or 2.5 centimeters. So as you can see, I've punched those holes, but I've got to punch the holes into the cover itself. And so as I explained before that you didn't see, I like to hold the journal closed as much as possible, so that it is close to 90 degrees to the table as possible, 90-degree angle to the table, which means that it has more chance of it getting into the spine itself, not beside the spine. So most of the time it works, some of the time it doesn't. So just punch that hole in. And I didn't get my little foam mat to do this with. I'm just using my cutting mat. So I'm pressing down firmly and make sure that the holes go all the way through. hopefully that worked, to reinforce those holes and make sure my threaded needle will go through. I like to just go through and do a test run first on all of those holes, just to make sure that hole is big enough to take the needle and the cotton, like that. There we go. And you can see I managed to get it on the spine, right on the edge, right on the center of the spine. So that's all well and good. So now I'll go through the center. Leave enough dangling so that you can tie the knot at the end, and we'll go back through the middle. We went straight through that time. I didn't get to show you my little trick. Anyway, so when you bring it through, you want to start tightening it, and you always pull in the opposite directions, the two threads, like that. And you want this thread, what I do is I have this thread facing that end because I want to punch the needle through back through the center again and come this way. So you want to avoid getting the needle going through that cotton, otherwise you won't be able to thread the needle through, or will get caught up in the cotton. So that's going through easily. And then I've decided I want to keep this flap. I have to remember what I have said and what I haven't said in this video. This is going to be a pocket in the double spread, and I didn't want to sew it in because I want to actually glue it later, because I want to put things on there perhaps. I don't know what I want to do, but I just thought I wanted to do it that way. So I've kept that flap out. So that's, if you're wondering why that's not included, and I will attach it later. So now I will go back through the center, and if you can't find the center, sometimes it's a bit hard, it's a bit awkward when I've got that in the way to show you. But what I usually do, if I can't get this through, because the papers all move around on you, so I go back through the front like that, and I hold that, if I can get a hold of it, hold that firmly in place like so with my thumb. So hold all those papers together. So I pull that back out. So hopefully when I go back through this way again, all those papers will be lined up, and I'll get through the whole, oops, as I said, there we go. Most of the time it works. Okay, so now you want to pull the threads in opposite directions so it's nice and firm, and you can tie. I usually like to take the needle off, and you can see I haven't got enough cotton here. I like to have a bit more cotton in the middle on this end, so pull it tight once again, not too tight. And the one thing I didn't do was slip it through here on the other side of this part here. So that's where it's threaded through those two holes. You slip it on the opposite side of there so that it catches there. It's got something to catch onto so that you can tie it in a knot. And you're tying a knot on either side of that center thread like that. And before I do any more knots, I like to come through and make sure that you can hear that snapping back. So if it's not as tight as you like, you can just go and tighten up a little bit more. You don't want it too tight to tear your papers. So then you can do 2 or 3. Sometimes I do 2, sometimes I do 3 knots in the middle. This is just a thin signature, so it's not too important how many you do. There we go. And then I can take off all the clips. I leave a little bit, just in case I want to put something, some dangles in the center. I leave the threads hanging, and I put my needle away before I lose it, and fold that back in. And there we go. We've got our cover attached to our pages. And so I just go through making sure that they're all in place. If they're not, then I have the laborious job of undoing the thread and redoing it all over again, adjusting all the pages, which, yes, they all seem to be in where I put them. And this is an envelope. It's firmly in there, so they all seem right. So that's it for that part. Now, we're going to open this up to the center, flip it over, and get my fabric, lay it down like that. So the beauty with having that line is that you can now, I'm going to apply glue on here, fabric glue, but I'm actually going to make sure I've got this up the right way, correct way, place it down, and then when I do get the glue on there, move this out of the way. I want to going to do this. When I start again, I'm going to glue 1/2 with some fabric glue. I've got the fabric glue here, and then I'm going to lie that down, and I have this border to show me where exactly it needs to be. So, and I hope the fabric hasn't shrunk in the meantime. No, I don't know why, but it does seem to have shrunk a bit. I think because I put this cover on, it might have added a couple of millimeters on the outside, or okay, it's all straight. So I'm going to fold that back over, and I'll cover so the glue doesn't dry, because this fabric glue dries pretty quickly, and I need to put a generous amount on. So this is like so. You want to make sure you cover it fairly evenly. Otherwise you'll have the fabric, it doesn't adhere properly, then you'll have all these, the fabric will bubble up type thing. And if I had some stiff paintbrush, let's see if I can find, you can quickly move this around so that it gets the whole lot like that before it dries, because as I said, it dries fairly quickly. So there we go. And oops, look what I've done. I've moved my piece of fabric. Okay, and make sure it all is straight everywhere. Okay, fold that down, fold that over, and I'll get my foam folder and squeeze all that glue out on the center out. There we go. As I said, that glue dries fairly quickly, so now I can turn it around and do the other side. I don't think I've done a cover like this before. Definitely not wrapping the inside cover to the outside before. So It'll be interesting. I use the covers I've done before with the fabric frayed edges. I've usually sewn them, had fabric on the inside and sewn them together. But this will be a bit different. So smooth all that out. As I said, this fabric's mentioned before or yesterday. This fabric is 100% cotton, so it's fairly thick cotton, so you shouldn't be able to see the cardboard cover through the fabric. It's the only thing you got to worry. If you use thin fabric, you may see the background. If you use a plain cardboard, no worries, but if you use recycled packaging, you'll see the image, whatever's on the packaging come through the fabric, but this one's working out fairly well. Okay, there we go. It's just want to reinforce that spine, make sure it's sitting, and then open it up to the middle again, turn it over, just to reinforce that fabric on the spine. Use the bone folder to iron it out so there's no crease. And there's our cover. A little bit of crease there. There you go. It's all done. So you can play around with the edges now and pull those threads and make it fray the edges, but I'll play with that later on. So for now, we're going to finish the front, and I'll put the lid on this glue and put my paintbrush in some water, and we're going to, if you haven't seen the video yesterday, this is, I've already cut these papers out. We're going to have a layered cover on the front, and there's my little I don't know where I was pointing this to, feather. I'm going to use some feathers, so I'm just going to lay this down how I think they'll fit. Look at that. So I want it inside the cover, and I've got this little panel that I cut out. And if you're watching the video yesterday, I said I didn't care about finishing those berries, but I lied. I had to go and finish them, so they got the little highlights on them now, and they're fully finished. Oh dear, yes. Okay, so I want this to be on an angle, so it's going to act, you know, like a photo frame type thing. And I've got a little birdie that I want to sit on the front there, and then I've got some decoration that I can put on the bottom and behind. So I'm just going to layer all this up, but before I do all that, I'm wanting to sew all these down in place. So what I can do here, so I get it the way I want it. I want it to come in a little bit further, so I can see that sewn line from the edge. So that's where I want my papers to be, inside that line. Don't want them sticking out, so that I know they will glue down properly. So it's just a little bit of fiddling around, that's all. Make sure they're all nicely spread out like that, and then this is going to be up here because I've got some bits and pieces to go down the bottom there, so that should work out well. And to keep them all in place, I'm going to use some the glue stick. This is a UHU stick. I don't like using this stuff, but it does come in handy at times like this. So I'm just going to glue these down in place. So now that I've got them laid out, I don't want to move them. So this is a way to glue them down. I'm going to glue the layers one at a time in situ, like that, and then the next one, so that they all stay there while I sew them together. How far down? All the way. Okay. Okay. They should all stay together like that. And I'm just going to run stitches around so they will all be firmly stitched down and won't move. And I will do that, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the end result. It won't be long. There we go. So around, and the what I would have done differently if the perfectionist in me didn't interfere when I was sewing, I would have left all the threads, and I would have done some messy sewing, because this is supposed to be a grungy journal, and this, to my way of thinking, is a little bit too neat. But yes, I'm going to have to get that perfectionist in me to go for a holiday during this month if I want to continue with the grungy theme. So that's how that's going to sit. So I'll glue that down. And now I'm just going to center this on here, and might open this up. It might be easier to work with when it's on a hard surface, like so. I'll use my thumb to squish all the edges down, and the bone folder a little tentatively on there. Sometimes I worry about the bone folder actually tearing the papers when you're trying to press it all down to get the glue to adhere. So the one thing I love about the fabric glue is it does adhere fairly quickly. No worries there. So I want to incorporate all the colors of the theme for this month's journal. So this is some of that cheesecloth stuff that I got from my local craft store, haberdashery store. So I just went and I used some red and brown and coffee dye and colored it, and then I used a hairdryer to dry it. It dries in seconds. So that red and the coffee dye and the brown and all that sort of thing, that's part of the theme. And just going to snip some off and put up the top here. It will, it kind of implies like it's a bird's nest. And then, of course, we're going to have a bird on here. My little, what do I call him? Freddie Finch. Freddie the Finch. So he's on there. And then I've got these scraps here I want to put along the bottom here. And I wasn't sure whether to do it just on this center frame or across the whole bit. And before that, that's right, I wanted to and I can't, oh no, yes, I didn't. I want to wrap this around like I'm tying all the layers together, and I can't do that now, but maybe I can do that just on here, just so there's I know I'm trying to incorporate elements that would go, that a bird would use to make a nest, because, you know, with spring coming on, or spring is here already, but he's going to make a nest and attract the girlfriends. So I wanted some way, didn't want all the things to be just in one place, so I wanted to stretch them out. And I thought if I made a little bow, tied up a little bow, like a little present, his potential girlfriend will think he's got a present for her. Something like that. And this incorporates the colours of the theme for this month. So I'm just going to I don't know whether to glue, when I glue that on, it will be glued down. I don't want to glue at the front. I don't like using glue as much as I can avoid it, I will. So I might put him on last, just so I make sure I get all these other bits and pieces all together. So if I just cut a bit, so this sticks up above it, and I'm going to have it together, I think, in the one corner, perhaps like that. All the other elements will be going on top of this, except this one will be underneath. So maybe I should glue that on first now, and then it won't keep floating around on me. I don't know whether to put that one down first. I think this one lays flat, so if I put that one first, I won't have any problems. I might just cut a tad off the end here. You do it on an angle like that, and because then it'll be one match up with that edge. So if I do something like that, and then leave it this way and glue it down a bit at a time. So, and of course I forgot what I was doing, and I'll have to lift this all up because I wanted to add these elements. I got these feathers online on an online craft store years ago, and they're sitting in my craft drawer ever since, and I have not maybe used one or two, but I think I've got a ton more than I really need. But I wanted, he's got to feather his nest, pardon the pun, so I want to have some of these feathers. I think these are so pretty, these feathers, and they kind of, when I painted this little bird, kind of matches his little back wing there, which is by accident, happy accident. So that will show through, and of course got some leaves in here to show the season, so I want all that to show through, and then some red leaf like that, and I don't think there was anything else I was going to put there, so I'll glue those down. We've got the helicopter lying around again today. There was in the last video, but I don't think someone's fallen off the cliff. I think they're actually transporting supplies because they're building a new bushwalk through on the cliff edge somewhere close by, and that's the only way they can get the materials in to make all the bushwalks, the pathways and the little bridges and all that they use to build these tracks. I think I read somewhere that that's what they were doing, and I thought they had finished by now, but obviously not. So the only thing I think that we have to do now is glue this down, and I will use the other glue to do that. always terrified of running out of the fabric glue because I'm finding it very difficult to find sometimes. Ooh, don't you fall away. Stand up. Okay, little Freddy, you go there, and I hope we've done enough for you to attract a girlfriend soon. And I've got a cloth here somewhere, always in my drawer. Okay, you can still see that. So there's our cover for March. Please let me know what you think of it. You know, I always like to know, you know, if I've done a good job or not. If you like this, I mean, this is my take on doing a cover and the journal. So please let me know if it's something that you would like to make for yourselves or as a present for somebody else. I would really love to know. Oh, that brings me to two things quickly that I wanted to bring up and I kept forgetting the last video or two. Was that when I was reading all your comments the other night when I wasn't sleeping, I noticed that some of you let me know where you live, and I think that's fantastic because I had people let me know that they were from Germany, the US, the UK, and also Australia, and Austria, all those places, and I think that's fantastic. And I love knowing where you come from and how your life is in those places, because I've travelled a fair bit over the years, not since COVID struck, but I absolutely love traveling and I love meeting new people from different parts of the world and different walks of life. So I would really love to get to know you as my viewers and subscribers. So if you would leave a comment in some of my videos and let me know, you know, when you're making a comment, just where you're from, I would really love to know. That'd be great. And who knows, one day, you know, we could all meet up somewhere. That's wishful thinking, isn't it? Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, please hit the thumbs up or the button, and because, you know, that all helps with the channel grow, and it gives me support and gives me incentive to keep going. And please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much for everyone who has given their support so far. It's been greatly appreciated. So I'm going to stop waffling now, and I'm going to wish you all a happy crafty day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.